If it's knowledge, humour, or a different perspective that you seek, look for the wisdom in the words that we speak. Words and wisdom. We'll let you decide.
Welcome to Words and Wisdom, where we think things and then we say them, sometimes without thinking. With your host, Miserable Mike, Rhythmical Mike.
And good old lonely Zak.
Yes. And today's podcast is going to be about loneliness and being alone, and how sometimes it can be negative, and sometimes it can have positives, just like everything in life.
I wrote that actually down for today. Like, I feel there is a difference between solitude and loneliness, and it gets confused a lot of the time. When I was traveling, like in Australia, I was always around people, and it became quite unhealthy for me because I just wanted to be with people all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't get enough of it. And the moment I actually was put in a position where I was on my own, I couldn't hack it. I just felt like sick to the core.
Well, I think a lot of that, and we've experienced that during lockdown, is that when we're alone, we are left with only our own thoughts and our own feelings and our own insecurities, which we have to then face. And it's like facing a demon. It's not comfortable. But the thing is, it can be beneficial because if we actually sit down and listen to those thoughts and say, okay, why do I think like this? And why do I feel like this? You can actually work on yourself and become a better person because of it. So, like I say, loneliness might be uncomfortable. When you're being alone, might be uncomfortable, but it's definitely beneficial. And like you said, when you're around people all the time, you take on their thoughts and beliefs and opinions, and you don't get a chance to think your own. But that can also be used as a way of distraction. If you're feeling insecure in yourself, you can distract yourself by being around other people. But eventually, when you go home, you're going to feel that loneliness.
And I think that's where I got to in my journey. I was constantly out traveling, being with people, feeling that uncomfortability, and then I'm that sort of person like you, Zak. I've got to work that out. I'm like, no, if you feel weird right now, there's something to face.
Yeah.
So I learned, like, I was taking myself on dates. I was going out with my little ukulele for the day and going to the beach and sat there.
You was taking ukulele out to specifically pull women, Mike. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not saying I was trying to pull women, but it worked.
We'll leave that one up to you guys to decide.
No, I do remember this moment. I went to the beach and I started playing Dock of a Bay, just like really simple chords. And these beautiful...
You fucking wronging me.
These beautiful, like... Chinese women came over to me and was like, can we take a picture? And then they just sat with me for the day and just taking pictures. So they didn't let me go through what I needed to go through on my solitude day after day. I was like, this is for my loneliness right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go sit at a busy beach and be alone today and play the ukulele.
Yeah. So, but I did go out and I was going to like the cinema on my own, and a lot of my mates were like, you're weird, aren't you? Like, why are you going out on your own all the time? But I genuinely felt it was something I needed to face. But like, you know, with me, Zak, my addictive side, or that quality where it's all or nothing, I was like always doing that then.
How long did you, because I know in my own journey it was very similar to yours, but when dating these women and going out finding these women, and maybe not just women, but friends as well, I find myself trying to find friends, but how long did it take you to realise, or did you have like a moment where you was like, oh, I'm craving this attention because, or this is unhealthy? How long did it take you to do that?
Because I'd experienced so many different types of addictions with food, with sex, with, well, many things, substances. I felt them irritabilities from the same place. So I think it was in travelling, and it was when I was in hostels all the time. And then I ended up getting a job in Melbourne on my own accord, and I ended up moving into, for cheapness, a rented place, a flat with my mate Jagger. But he worked different shift, and he actually, the dick, got a girlfriend over there for a minute.
Really?
So he was living with her then.
Yeah.
So I was in this room on my own, and I'd be going, and this was the time in my life where I was trying to make all the money so I could go and enjoy it in Thailand.
Yeah.
So I was working mad shifts. I wasn't wanting to go out and meet all the hostel people and party. I was coming back home and just sitting and watching films or sitting and doing nothing. And I was really working on my body at this point, but I was just not with people at all. So I'd go home and I just felt sad. I just felt like, uncomfortable.
Like
It was
empty feeling.
It was itchy. I was like, girls, and I sort of go on to Tinder or something, like looking like, does anybody want to come round, and like pleading people, do you want to come and just watch a film with me? Like,
and that pushes people away.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
it's like
Smell it from a mile.
Yeah,
off.
definitely. When people are needy, this is it's such a funny principle, because when we're lonely, we need people. So we think we need people. We actually need ourselves more than anything. But so we like crave these people, but by craving people, we push them away. It's like, I need you, please. And then they're like, whoa, take a step back. So it's such a funny principle.
And then that hilarious like caveat with that, like when you actually don't want people again, or you're like, you need to be on your own. Like,
well, I think personally, but then this is just an opinion, as we've already discussed. Just opinions don't really.
We've had a
mean
long morning, guys.
Oh, a long morning. But like my opinion is. Sorry, what did you just go back to that point you said again?
The opposite of that. Do you know when you're trying to push people away?
Okay, cool. So the reason being is because when you're no longer trying to attract people, you're happy in yourself, and you've got this glow about you, this energy, and people like want to be a part of that. People see you having a good time, and you're like, why is he having a good time? I want to be having a good time with him.
Yeah, I felt that in myself towards people. I've seen it on like friends where they're literally like, I can speak for Jagger, but just doing him perfectly, just enjoys solitude, enjoys gaming, being on his own. And I'm like, I'd like to be around that, because that seems comfortable, calm, happy living.
Yeah,
and
it's the energy
what you're saying there.
Up. And then, so the funny thing is that if you want people in your life, you have to not want people in your life.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Well, I think from my own experience, because I've been lonely, growing up, through maybe no fault. No, it's through no fault of everybody else. So I'm not saying it's everybody else's fault. I'm saying it was my own fault. I was socially awkward. I didn't know how to communicate. That's what I actually want to touch on. If you can't communicate, or if you can't connect with people, or with anything, mainly people, because we're social creatures, you will feel lonely. So even if you've got 100,000 friends in person, but none of them think the same as you, or share the same views and opinions and beliefs, you're not going to connect. You're going to feel very lonely. You're not alone because you've got people, but you're very lonely. So, and I struggled to connect because I must have thought a different way, or maybe I had certain learning difficulties growing up that I wasn't aware of, and I'm still not really aware of. But through doing so, I wasn't able to create groups of friends. I was like friends with everybody, like yourself, social butterfly.
Yeah.
But I never really fit into a crowd as such. And through doing so, I felt very lonely for a long time. I remember many times lay on my bed crying into a sock. It makes a change from doing other things into a sock, doesn't it, Mikey?
Something else with first. I did that.
Like the shame of it after. I'm like, oh, I got semen all over my face.
What's that film where she puts her hair up into quiff? I
don't think I've seen it.
There's something about Mary, I think it is.
Right,
it's the funniest. She's got it on her ear.
But like, I spent many times crying because I didn't feel like I fit in. People didn't invite me to parties, which again might have been my own fault, because I was a bit of a douchebag. And only when I learned how to communicate with people effectively and connect with the right people was I able to stop feeling lonely. And as well as that, so that's a point in itself, is connect with the right people, so you feel this sense of connection. But also working on my body and myself, I now love myself fully. Like I fucking love who I am. I don't care. Not in a way that I'm gonna show everyone else that you're. I want everyone to feel this sense of. I look in the mirror and I'm like, you know what? I really like you as a person, because I don't tell no bullshit. I'm very honest. I like my physical state. I'm happy with everything. I've come to terms and accepted everything. And if people can do that, you don't need the attention like we've just spoken about of everybody else in the world. So that's when Jagger got to where he loves it. He loves himself, so that people then come to you, and it's a weird dichotomy. It's a weird dichotomy.
Well, people try and bat you away from that. You saying you love yourself. Some people's brains will go ego or go vanity, all them aspects, and it's like, please, guys, get to a stage in your life where you're complimenting yourself.
Maybe that's why people are holding themselves back, Mikey. Sorry to interrupt you there, but maybe that's why. Because you've heard that if you have the belief about money, then you'll never attract it. If you have the belief about relationships in a negative way, you'll never attract them. And maybe because people go, well, it's to love yourself, it's vain. I don't want to be vain. Well, you'll be miserable for the rest of your life then. I think vanity is viewed in such a distort way these days, because even the people that we say, oh, she's vain, like, I'm going to be honest, I have done this, and I have judged women on their Instagram profiles or how they put makeup on. Like, oh, look, she's vain. Look, she thinks she's beautiful. Well, if we look at it from this perspective, if she's posting photos all the time, requiring validation from people, maybe she's insecure. Maybe she doesn't love herself.
I think what you've got is a beautiful way of coming in from a compassionate side, because that exact what you're talking about on topic could be approached in so many different levels. Like, I always speak from the position of coming to be a dad, but thinking about looking at that and being like, oh, I don't want my daughter to be caught up in that cycle of having to be your perfect form and perfect self, which I keep seeing. But if you're coming from a compassionate side that you're coming from, it's like, what's she going through to feel that? What's she experiencing? What is her loneliness like? So
exactly.
I really like looking at it in that term.
Definitely. And I think you can tell someone how lonely they are from the stuff that they post on.
Yeah, I think that's true. How attached they are to social media in general, and just because you're in another world there, you can connect on different ways, which again, we'll always talk about the grey area, the nuance, because there is a grey within it. It's not just bad or good, but to want to feel so connected at every moment and validated.
Yeah, okay, so I guess that's like taking, it's like coffee. So if we drink coffee, we have one coffee a day. We're not going to get hooked on it. But like if we start having one every day and then we have two every day, we build up a resistance.
Yeah.
And if we go back to social media, what you were saying then, if we're posting photos every day, looking for recognition, looking for appreciation and likes every day, all the time, every minute. And I found myself recently, because we've been locked down or whatever you want to call it, I'm looking at my phone all the time. And I've now created an attachment. I go Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, but then I'll do 2 cycles of it, bro.
Yeah, just in case it's changed.
Just to get what? And
hang on, I got 4 likes there, but it might go on to 5.
It gets addictive, mate.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's the same principle with coffee as well. Like, we build up a resistance, and that's what I'm trying to say. If we build up a resistance of we require this amount of likes every day, and then we go out into public and we don't get it, we're gonna, wow, I feel lonely now. Like, we're kind of bringing it on ourselves in a way.
And it's shown us in lockdown human connection and how important it is. As much as Elon Musk thinks we won't be talking to each other in 5 years, the thirst that people have shown, the desperation to be around people and feel that connection has been so important. Like, we are, evolutionary speaking now, we are meant to be in tribes. We have been grown up around people, around tribes, around herd mentalities. And there's a beauty within that. There's a beauty in connection. And I feel it all the time. I feel it still when I've been inside just doing my gaming or doing my work that I'm always workload I've got on. I feel that urge, I feel that need to just speak to you, like just on the, like, do you know when we send each other little voice notes, it gives me a little like buzz, but it's not just like, oh, I got a like on a post sort of buzz. It's I've connected with somebody buzz.
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. Like, you can get a compliment, the same compliment from the same person. One is over Facebook, and you don't really feel anything. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'll get people say, "Oh, Zach, I really like what you're doing," and I'm like, I appreciate it. I am fully grateful of people supporting and just getting in touch, but I don't feel it. But then when someone comes up to me in person, I'll be walking past the street, and they'll go, "Oh, by the way,
man,"
because there's that connection, and we as human beings, we have this like force field of energy around us, which is why you can walk past someone and feel on edge, because they're giving off a certain vibration of energy, a frequency. So when you've got a frequency that matches, say, me and you, we connect, like magnets, and pull towards each other.
Yeah.
But over Facebook, you don't get that. You don't feel that vibration. You don't get the eye contact. The window to the soul and everything. And I think more now than ever, we've been separated very, very cunningly, using social media, using stuff and games and all that bullshit to like, oh, by the way, guys, you matter as an individual. In fact, create your own personal Facebook page with your own personal messenger, and don't worry about everybody else. Post what you think on. It's no longer about connecting. It's about separation. And then, sorry, but I need to carry this on.
No, do, man, yeah.
With the whole COVID situation, I feel like that's even been used against us to segregate even more, because you go into Aldi or Morrison's, and you've got these like little booths that you have to pay, and you're now separated from the cashier, and it's almost like there's something at eye level that stops you from seeing them. It's disgusting, man. It's like as if but the thing is if we connect, right, let's say we connect and we're all connected and we feel that love, do we need to buy into any expensive clothing or car? Do we need to? If we're connected and we feel love every day,
no, I don't need that.
We don't need it because we don't think the reason we buy
more wholeness going on.
Exactly, mate. So if they want us to spend money, whoever they are, you know, the reptilian people, if they want us to spend people of power, if they want us to spend more money, the best thing to do is to segregate us so that we feel alone and isolated, and we say, what's going to make people love me? This expensive bit of whatever's going to. Consumerism. People have been buying clothes. Consumerism's gone up existential. I don't know. It's gone up hugely during lockdown.
Yeah.
When people
Amazon's been an absolute wildfire.
Exactly. When we've been disconnected, which is, and people have been buying clothes just to post on Instagram for attention and because they feel alone. Whereas if they was in person and they had that cuddle, they wouldn't.
It gives you a quick fix, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it gives you something like you're reaching out for something, and if you can't get it on them more whole aspects of life that we're talking about, connection, smiling, laughing, being together, if you can't be fed in that way, you've got to go back to the what do you know that makes you feel a bit happier? A new iPhone, a new gift, something that just feeds the ego a lot of the time.
Feeds the ego, or that quick hit of attention. And I think, sorry, carry on.
We want with this podcast is for people to feel they can join in as well or get in the discussion. And I'd be really interested to hear somebody who, like the gaming culture, feel their thoughts on it. Because somebody who I highly admire, Ian Gilbert, who's in charge of this company I work for, Independent Thinking. And he's a phenomenal man. He does philosophy for children.
That's cool. Got
this book out called The Book of Thunks. I looked over there and there was a bird sat on a cow's head. I was like, that's just lovely. And
come on, Mikey, back in the room. Book of Thunks.
This Book of Thunks is philosophy for children. And I was talking to Ian one day when he came over. I was doing a film for him. And I was talking about society and the gaming culture and how Jagger is in his room on his own all day. And he's just sat there. And my perspective was like, how is he not lonely? How does he not feel that? But then Ian made me think differently and went, but actually, like, he's got a headset on and he's talking to thousands of people all day, and he's much more connected than you in some moments because he's in another universe. He's in another social aspect of life.
With a bunch of like-minded people. With the actual vibration of voice, which will help fuel that part of the brain that requires that.
So I would like to know other people's perspectives on how they feel when they are into like the gaming community, because I think that might be a different world that I'm not as pretty on. But
leave us your comments on your experience of loneliness and if you have beat it or if you are feeling lonely. And I think for those people that are feeling lonely, Mikey, maybe we can shed some light onto what we do, because I know I've got a few tips and tricks on how to create connection in life. I don't know if you've got any you want to.
So I think when I'm feeling a certain way, I reflect and I just again speak to you. Like I'll just message somebody I don't think I would thought of for a while, and I'll send them a voice note to start and say, "What are you up to, man? I've not spoke for a bit," and it'll just bounce back. And already I've given myself something.
So you're saying read, and I think that's important because when we feel lonely, sometimes depression can come hand in hand with that. And if we're depressed, we're less likely to reach out to anybody because we're like, well, I want people, but I don't want people, and there's that weird battle going on in your head. So what we're saying is actually reach out, even to people you haven't spoken in a while, and see if you can establish some kind of connection. Don't go in like, hey, by the way, I'm lonely and depressed. Speak to me, because that's what we were saying earlier.
That can come later on when you're at the pub together.
100%. And I think that this kind of builds up to something that I use in life to avoid loneliness, and that's talk about the other person more. Ask about the other person.
Don't get too attached to self all the time.
Yeah.
How you're feeling.
Yeah, so say, I use this principle. If I go into, generally 90% of the time, if I go into a shopping, like a shopping place like Aldi or Morrison's or I go to pay for diesel, my job is to see if I can make that person's day better by being there. So, how you doing? Is there something about the hair I can compliment, or is there something about them, something quirky that I can, say something, or can I ask them about something?
Yeah.
And get them talking, leave them with a smile. But by doing so, I feel then connected to that person. So I walk away and I've fed myself.
Give some energy there.
Yeah, I'm not feeling lonely anymore. You can walk out
into the world with that.
100%. So that's something that I'll use.
I think another thing that is good, like, because at the minute I see lots of clicks, and sometimes I feel like left out of that, and I don't understand it. But getting a passion, joining something where other people are like-minded is so important, and know which one fuels you best. If it's just like having a political standpoint and all joining forces, that can be not very solid ground sometimes, because as soon as you try and step foot back and go, I don't agree with that, you can be like looked at in a way.
Well, that's why politics works so well, though, because they give a sense of community.
They make you join forces. They mould the brain. They make you condition. You have to think this way. And again, you get left-wing people, and as soon as they want to step foot out and go, yeah, I agree with all of this, but Hank, what about that? Then you quickly shun out. It's like, no, every thought must be the same.
So I guess what you're saying is find a passion where there is no teams, like maybe like Jagger has his computer games. I mean, there is teams on there, but you're all there for the same purpose, to have a good time and to shoot the
enjoyment,
other person.
Like a sport for me. Like, even though we're all playing football and there's teams, the idea is actually like, this is just a beautiful Sunday afternoon to play with your mates, and both teams, it gets riled at times, but you're part of a community. And when we turn up, sometimes we'll have a laugh and we just mess about, but we actually all just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? And
become part of a community.
There's
loads of Facebook groups out there. If you're into, let's say you're into knitting or dogs
Chris's
or cats.
World,
just
Handmade Revolution, guys.
Boom, there you go. Handmade Revolution. If you're into crafts and stuff, you can find a group where everyone talks about that, and then you feel that sense of community, and then maybe you meet up with someone for a coffee, and you build it that way. I think,
That is literally what saved me. Finding something new, finding something that I'd never met people like that before. And then when I did, I felt a part of something, and it started to connect, and stars aligned, and it starts to snowball, doesn't it? It's very quick how you go, wow.
So I guess we could say as well, get out there and meet some new people and talk to people. But the thing is some people will say, well, I'm not confident to do that. So I think let's get to the root of the problem. Are you lonely, or are you just not confident? Do you need to work on yourself first? Do you need to spend time alone, figuring who you are, going to the gym or working on your body? Maybe it's your self-image that's holding you back from being connected to people, because you're saying, I don't feel comfortable, so I'm not going to approach people. So maybe we need to work on ourselves, and I think that might be your calling, to stay alone for a little bit, work on yourself, get the confidence you need to go out and meet people, and then eradicate that loneliness that way.
And I think from what you're saying there as well is usually the main, what we're going to, through all these conversations, get back round to is work on yourself first. Go to self place. Anytime you're feeling hurt, if it's being really angry at every situation, if it's being really lonely, if it's whatever it's being, and if your relationship's not quite clicking, don't just look out all the time and blame it on other people, or think about, what's the world not doing for me?
What's going wrong in here?
What are you doing? What's happening in your world? And that's what we're going to try and help people.
100%. As well as I'm a an online fitness coach, Zak Coaching. So I always tell people to work out. But I had this kind of like revelation this morning, like, dude, we need to work in as well. You need to work out and work in, like what you just said. Just beautiful.
The inside world meets the outside world.
Yes, mate.
Beauty, man. I think we've done beauty. I think we've done beauty.
We hope that helps. If anyone's feeling lonely, reach out to us. Like, we don't judge people much.
I love community, man.
And maybe
but I'm bold underneath, and I hate myself.
Maybe we should start a Facebook group at some point.
I think we should, man.
And we can start getting some conversations going in there. Maybe just help some people.
Mate, I want to get as many people on board with this, but I want them to feel as connected into it as we are just chatting now. To feel that they can just send a comment. We might, like, down the line, we don't know. We might have people on with us. We might have conversations. We might have group meetups.
Yeah, that'd be
bus,
cool,
baby.
Man. Yeah, well, we'll have our own little office and stuff. We're jumping ahead of the
Hang on, is this a cool?
There's only like me, you, and your nan and my mum watching at the minute. Anyone else? Feel free to like, subscribe, and have a good day, guys.
Ciao for now. Why am I looking at that camera? Ciao for now.